Hello and welcome to Shipped Happens, where we talk to the people shaping the future of automotive. I'm Sarah Blewett, head of research at Carwow, and I'm your host for today's bonus episode. Today we're also joined by Will Jackson.
Hello, great to be here.
Will is our head of commercial here at Carwow, and we're joined by James Baggott.
Hello, thank you very much for having me.
Great to have you here.
Nice to see you.
So for the very few people in the industry who don't know you, you founded Car Dealer way back in 2008. You've now got 12 million views a year, I believe. You have a podcast, you have events, you have the used car awards, you've got all sorts going on. And if you weren't busy enough, you've also got your own dealership.
It sounds mad, doesn't it, when you put it like that?
It does sound mad. You got a lot.
That's quite accurate. Thank you.
Great. You are known for showing the industry what's really going on and not holding back. So I think us included here, you don't hold back on what's really going on. And so we want to say up front that you are going to be honest today and all of your views are your own, not at all shaped by us.
So absolutely, yeah. You would never get anything else from me.
So back in 2008, when you started this, what gap did you see in the market? Where did this idea come from?
So I'd been a motoring journalist for, I don't know, probably 5-6 years before that. Worked at some national publications, actually Auto Express, which is now in your stable now. It's pretty much where I started my career. I decided to go freelance, and I started writing about the industry and other areas of the automotive world. And I spotted an opportunity to produce a publication for car dealers that had a little bit of personality. I mean, some of the other publications that were out there at the time were a little bit dry and very much focused on business. And I really wanted to put a bit of passion and the enjoyment into the publication for the motor trade.
How has your perspective changed since having your own dealership?
Oh, wow. Hugely. I mean, it's something I've always wanted to do. My dad was a car dealer. He worked for HRO. My brother ran a used car dealership. So the motor trade's sort of in the blood in my family, but I ended up just writing about it. Ended up starting the magazine and writing about cars. So all the way through the car dealer history, I've always wanted to do it. I've always kind of joked to the team, I'd have to start a car dealership. And then I had the opportunity in 2023 to launch the Clever Car Collection. And it started as a little bit of a project, really. I wanted to see how far I could push AI and how much of the journey could be done with AI. And back then, not much really could be done.
Yeah.
But it helped come up with a name, it helped design the logo, it helps produce some of the content for the website. And over the years, that sort of kind of developed further. But what I've really learned in those early days is that selling cars is still very much what people do.
Yeah.
You can do a lot of the journey online in advance, but that customer still needs to meet you, still needs to shake your hand, still needs to see the car, wants to smell it, kick the tires, drive it, and meet the person. Importantly, he's going to look after them afterwards. So I think in terms of my perspective on the industry since, I've got a huge amount of respect. Not that I didn't have them before, but even more respect for dealers who do this day in, day out.
And you mentioned AI there. So now that we're in a world of AI everywhere, how do you think AI should be used in a dealership versus that human connection?
I've tried every avenue I possibly can with AI, and there's things that it can do now that it couldn't do when I started, and there's things that we've tried that it hasn't really worked with. We've tried deploying it to talk to customers, and giving AI the full authority to talk to all of your customers on your behalf is hard.
Yeah.
Because it does make mistakes.
Yeah.
I mean, I had an example where we had a lead generation software plugged into the system. A customer came in on a Sunday night and said, "I want to buy your Mitsubishi Outlander and I want to deliver it tomorrow. Do you take bank transfer?" I mean, the leads don't get any better.
Yeah.
And I watched the answers, AI, and AI went back and said, "Yeah, no problems, we take bank transfer." And they went, "Right, what about delivery?" "I'm sorry, we don't do delivery." I'm like, "Right, okay, we do delivery." And she came back and said, "Yeah, but you told me last week you do delivery."
Oh, no.
So I immediately turned it off, jumped in, picked up the phone, spoke to her. And it was at that point I lost a little bit of faith in letting AI do all of our leads. So I'm sort of finding my feet again with a bit of AI assistance. Built into our DMS is an AI answering tool. We use DealerKit. And it will sort of draft a response, which is quite handy. It does make it a little bit quicker when you're doing it on mobile. But where I found it really useful is with the advent of Claude is buying cars. So we built a solution with Claude to help identify the right cars to buy for Clever Car Collection. And it's been a phenomenal success for us. It was something I wanted to do back in 2023.
Yeah.
And when I put it into ChatGPT, it was making up registrations and making up prices and new ridiculous information. Now it's doing it every single day for me automatically and serving it up on a mobile app. I built that in 4 or 5 days.
Yeah.
It's incredible what you can do. If you can dream it, you can build it with AI now.
And so speaking of the used car market, what do you see happening in the used car market right now?
I mean, the used car market's pretty good at the moment. I talk to lots of dealers all the time. I'm in a number of different WhatsApp groups where the market's discussed all the time. The first quarter of this year was very strong. We came out of Christmas, all guns blazing. It really started very, very well in that first quarter. Then we went in, we obviously had the start of the Iran war. Things sort of slowed down around that. Obviously, everybody was sort of assessing what's happening, what's going on. But following that, it very quickly picked up. I always say the used car market is slightly different. It's very resilient because people buy a used car because they need a used car.
Yeah.
A lot of the people who turn up in my dealership are they've crashed their car. Their car's broken down. Their car has met the end of its life. I'm in the sub £10,000 market where it's a necessity purchase. Well, that is quite recession-proof in some respects because those people are buying for a reason.
Yeah.
So in April, we had a very strong April. May was a little bit slower, but still pretty steady, still pretty strong. But then you had 2 bank holidays. The weather was incredible. It's half term.
Yeah.
These things all do have an impact on the market. And June's been pretty strong for us as well. So I think we're in for a pretty good year. I mean, the people I was chatting to beforehand, we talked to lots of the market experts all the time for Car Dealer Magazine. They said this year would be a little bit more normal. And I think we're certainly seeing that. All of the dealers I talked to are ahead of where they were last year. That is very, very positive.
Yeah.
We've had a tough couple of years for the industry, 24, 25. We're seeing that in some of the accounts that we're writing up for Car Dealer Magazine. So hopefully this year is a bit of a turn in the corner.
So used car values were pretty turbulent after COVID. Where do you think we are in that cycle now?
I mean, they certainly have been turbulent, and you only have to look at what happened to new cars during COVID to see why it's impacted used. The numbers of cars produced were massively down, number of cars sold were massively down, and that wave is slowly moving through the age cohorts as we go on. So it's impacting different dealers at different times. It was those newer cars that weren't available, so that the car supermarkets that have struggled. And as we move on, we're 5, 6 years on from COVID now, 6 years on from COVID. It's starting to impact the cars that I'm operating in. The next couple of years, those 8, 9, 10-year-old cars that are my bread and butter are going to be impacted even more. So all dealers are going to be impacted by this at some stage. But at the same time, the wave is better for those people that have struggled at the first time. So it's constantly shifting. We have seen value stabilize a little bit. We're seeing electric car prices go up, where they were incredibly volatile. We know that back end of 23, there was a big price drop, and that was very painful for dealers. But that has sort of washed through the system now, and it's a little bit more of a normalized market. But we are seeing these electric car prices rise. 2 months on the bounce now that we've seen it reported on Car Dealer Magazine going up. And I think we'll see more of it as more dealers like me are going out there hunting for these cars that they didn't do in the first place. So yeah, I think as we go forward, a little bit more normal for used car prices, but depending on what you sell, you need to be a little bit more cautious.
Yeah, I'll be fascinated because I remember one of your Car Dealer Live podcasts. Fairly prominent dealers sort of said they would never stock any EVs, and I wonder if that will maintain through the course of time or whether they'll have to pick up because it is a big opportunity and it is just growing.
Yeah.
I find it fascinating that some dealers don't sell them. I mean, the issue is a lot of dealers are set up for petrol and diesel. Our mechanic is a petrol and diesel mechanic. He's not really into EV. So if we have a problem with them, our network behind the scenes is not quite there.
Yeah.
And we had a strange one. We had to buy a Volkswagen e-Golf back from a customer because it wouldn't fast charge. Couldn't work out why this thing wouldn't fast charge. Changed bits on it, lots of different parts, incredibly expensive, spent lots of money on it. Still couldn't get it to fast charge until I spoke to a random dealer who just said, is the aircon working? And I said, I'll go and check the aircon. Lo and behold, no aircon gas in it. He said, gas it up, it will be fine. Gassed it up and it fixed it because
Well,
it needs aircon gas to cool the battery. That was a £60 fix. I
yeah.
would spend 1,500 quid up until
Oh
this point.
no.
So there are quirks.
Yeah.
There are quirks with electric cars, but it was the same with petrol and diesel. All cars have quirks.
Yeah.
You just have to learn them, and the opportunity is there. They sell far quicker than petrol and diesel cars, and a lot of people are looking for them. So
Mm.
I think I jumped on the bandwagon quite easy. As soon as the Iran war kicked off, I went straight out and bought lots of electric cars, and we've done pretty well as a result. So
Yeah.
I'd say other dealers should do the same.
I guess what I'm interested in, right, is like we're seeing a real market shift. From a new car perspective, we've got this almost flood of new entrant brands coming in, which are largely focused on EVs or hybrid. And now around 33% of all sort of new car inquiries on our site are going into those new entrant brands. How do you feel retailers are set up for what is going to be quite a big shift in the, going from petrol and diesel all the way through to, in a few years' time, a huge amount of EV?
I think what you said there about the Chinese brands. I've talked to a lot of dealers who have invested in those Chinese brands. I spoke to one the other day. I said, how's the used car market? We don't sell used cars. He said we just sell Chinese cars.
Yeah.
Because it's a very similar market. If you can walk into a dealership to buy a used car and actually drive away a brand new J-Coupe, Cherry, something similar, you will. And what I've been fascinated by is how these new brands have managed to steal some market share so quickly. People don't really seem to care about brand quite as much as we thought they did. They care about price. And the Chinese brands have stolen a lot of market share using price as a lever, and they continue to do so. So I think that is going to have an impact on certain areas of the used car market. When it comes to EV, we've seen massive demand for EV, and we always try and have some in stock. With the one on the side at the moment because we've sold all the others. They sell really quickly. They're a little bit more reliable. When you get a problem, they can be a little bit difficult to fix, but invariably, most of the time they're a bit more reliable, and customers are looking for them. So it's a big change I think we're seeing. It has obviously happened as a result of petrol and diesel prices. But what I think is this snowball effect is going to continue. I think even if the petrol and diesel prices fall again, which we hope they do, if there is a ceasefire and it continues, I still think this surge in interest we've seen of electric cars is going to carry on. Now, it's happened before and it dropped off, but I think this time people go, well, it's happened twice now. I think this is the time to start investigating electric vehicles. I bought a Tesla Model 3 the other week to sell. On the Carwow platform. It turned up at the dealership and I absolutely love it. I so much so that I keep talking customers out of it and keep it for myself. It's a brilliant, brilliant car. So I think this is a big change we're going to see in the market. I'm pretty sure it's going to continue. What I have found interesting is the way that more and more consumers are using AI to help them in their car buying journey.
Absolutely, yeah.
I mean, there's nothing more frustrating. Dealers watching this will know. There's nothing more frustrating to get an inquiry that has been written by ChatGPT. Because, we had one yesterday on the Tesla and it was like 6-7 points long. And most of the questions have been answered in either the video we've produced or the advert. But there's a lot of consumers out there using AI to help them, and they don't know what they're looking for. Take that Tesla Model 3 that I'm using at the moment, nearly 100,000 miles. It's still got 91% battery health, and a full charge will still give me 305 miles range. That's incredible. That is a lot of range for the money. We do a battery health check on all of our EVs. We put it on all of our adverts, and interestingly, a lot of consumers are asking exactly that question. And most of the cars we've checked have been over 87, like most of them over 90%. And I'm dealing in 10-year-old cars.
Yeah.
So if a 10-year-old car has got health like that, I don't actually think there's anything to worry about.
So there's more marketplaces than ever moving into used cars. What do the dealers you talk to tell you about the platforms they're using?
Well, it's been an interesting market, hasn't it? It's changed dramatically over the last 6 months. The Auto Trader story is something that can't be ignored. They launched Deal Builder in November time. And it didn't go down well with the motor trade. I mean, you had protest groups set up, you had lots of dealers who weren't happy about the way that this had been rolled out because they saw a drop off in leads. And I think, speaking personally, I wasn't particularly happy about Deal Builder. What I like is that they've tweaked it since, but right back then when it was launched, I didn't like the fact it was taking away a part of my sales process. I offer a reservation, but that customer will have to speak to us first, and we tell them categorically it's a 3-day reservation because I'm missing out on other opportunities. It's £99, it's non-refundable. You can use it towards the car if you like it, but I don't want to waste taking that car off sale if you're not serious. So the people who do put that reservation down buy the car.
Yeah.
And that's my process, and you can't do that on other platforms. So, and I've given this feedback to Auto Trader, and I know other dealers have done too. And I think that's been a bit of the catalyst. I say a bit, huge catalyst for dealers to look elsewhere and try other platforms. Lots of dealers have downgraded their packages. They've changed how much money that they spend with Auto Trader, and they're deciding to use other options. We've had the advantage of using lots of them over the last 12 months, and I've been amazed with how the different ones work. I mean, you guys, not just saying this because I'm here, deliver me good leads. We've sold cars from Carwow's platform. There are some tweaks I'd like to see to the platform, and we've heard about it today on a webinar that you hosted about some of those things that you've got coming. And dealers are looking for different opportunities. They're looking to try different things. So the market's more fragmented than it was before.
And you mentioned that there's more fragmentation in terms of where you're getting leads. But on the other hand, we're also seeing a lot of consolidation in terms of dealer groups. So what do you think the future is of the independent forecourt? Where's that going to go?
Well, I think what I've loved about this industry is that it's incredibly entrepreneurial, and there's people popping up all the time, trying to hustle and make a living out of selling cars. Yes, those larger dealer groups are having big consolidation, and we're seeing them get sucked up by the Americans, and in the UK that these groups are joining together. But there's an absolute core of dealers that are size and similar that will always be there, that offer great service to their local community. There's a lot of people, you need to remember, that don't want to travel long distance to buy a used car. They want to buy it from someone they trust, a good local business. And what we've really focused on is making sure the Clever Car Collection is, we've focused on reviews. Reviews are incredibly important to us, and reputation, because we go over and above looking after customers. If they have a problem, we really look after them. And we've bought cars back when many dealers wouldn't have done. But I'm in this for the long term. Yeah, it might have started as a project, but I want to be a good local business. And I think there's lots of dealers out there like me that are doing very similar and being successful as a result.
Yeah. Do you have an unpopular opinion about the automotive industry? What do you think most people get wrong about the auto industry right now?
What unpopular opinion, something that really, really gets up my nose is what consumers think of dealers. I really enjoy it because when a customer turns up, they're often really fighty, and I like spending the first 10 minutes of just going, look, if you don't want to buy it, that's fine. There's no problems. We're not pushing in any way, just winning them over, slowly just showing them that actually we're good guys and we're not out to take them for a ride. I don't like the way the industry is tarnished with the same brush. There are some bad dealers out there. We write about them many times on Car Dealer magazine, but the majority of this industry likes to look after its customers, and there's nowhere to hide. Reviews are open for everybody to see. So most dealers out there really want to look after their customers. So yeah, frustratingly, I don't like the way that the consumers turn up and they want to fight. They don't like operating with dealers. They think you're untrustworthy.
Yeah.
So I'd love that to change.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us, James. Really, really insightful. We obviously talked through a lot of different sort of hot topics at the moment, from used EVs, AI and retailers, a little bit of market volatility thrown in there. So a really, really good discussion, and I really appreciate your time.
Well, thanks for having me in. And if people want latest news, cardealermagazine.co.uk, plug, I had to do that.
And if you've enjoyed this episode, please follow us wherever you get your podcasts, on YouTube, on Spotify, like and subscribe. And we'll see you next time.